Welcome to Lovemore Banda Live. I am Lovemore Banda. I hope I find you well. Our guest is the Zimbabwe Rugby Union. I should rephrase that and say a Zimbabwe Rugby Union presidential candidate, because there are several of them, so no definite article. He is a presidential candidate for the Zimbabwe Rugby Union. He is the founder and chief executive officer of a global sports agency, the Athlete Spheres Management, and also has business interests in mining, in agriculture and trade. He is also the advisory board chairman of the Zimbabwe Football Forum, Mr. Gerald Sibanda. Gerald, why rugby?
Yeah, good afternoon. Rugby is home to me. Rugby is who I became. 15-year career for my national team. And of course, those accolades that I have now in business interests are for other projects and disciplines that I do. But for me, I think rugby is my home. And I've served the game in every capacity. And I think the time has come for me to take the game to the next stage of administration.
Since your playing days, you stopped like 2016, thereabouts, you have been heavily involved in football. You have made a definite footprint in not just Zimbabwe football, but football in Africa, elsewhere on the continent, football in North and South America, football in other places. Why rugby?
Yeah, I think when I retired in 2017 in Romania when I was playing professional rugby. And then soon after I came into business and I formed my sports agency, Athlete Sphere Management. And then we had global contracts in boxing. And then the big project that we then embarked on was football with the Spanish La Liga and obviously one of the biggest teams in Spain, Real Betis, where I became an international and regional partner of the club to grow the brand and also grow La Liga themselves through multiple activations and promotions. But at the end of the day, this is mainly sports business, and for sure, I think the hour has come also for me now to come in and do rugby business, but of course, in the main office of Zimbabwe Rugby Union.
Gerald, I've asked you twice. I'll ask you for the third and final time. The Zimbabwe Football Association is having elections later this year. They need a chairman. Why rugby?
For me, I think for now, I think I feel strongly that I have some work to do in rugby, and I feel strongly that the people of rugby, they've called me. I answered the call. Stakeholders are excited. Stakeholders want someone that they can work with, someone that can bring back the investor confidence in the game. So after engaging various stakeholders, I think this is the right time. This is the right time for me. I strongly feel that this is the right time for me in my journey in sports administration in Zimbabwe.
3 times I've asked you and 3 times you've denied me. Just as well that no cock has crowed. But do you understand if football feels betrayed?
No, not really. Real Betis is still in Zimbabwe. We've got a fantastic management team there. General Manager Dr. Nicholas Munyonga and his team, they are ready to take on the next challenge without my involvement on a daily basis. So I think as long as Real Betis is in Zimbabwe, as long as La Liga continues to do its sporting promotions in the country, I think football is in safe hands. As long as those projects are thriving, I think they're in safe hands. And I'm always happy to consult. I'm a businessman, and football is also part of my business projects.
There are two or so other candidates. Why you?
I think we have to realistically address the challenges that the game has got in modern day rugby. Rugby became professional after the 95 World Cup, leading into the 1999 World Cup. And I believe during my time I played rugby, we have not been any closer to the rest of the world. The rest of the world has gone professional. The game has grown commercial. But I think as a country we have kind of like looked at rugby as an elite sport, just serving the few and the minority. And I believe that we have not really addressed the agenda of growing the game and spreading the game in the country. And I think it's something that I strongly feel that this is something that I can definitely address and take the game to the people. The people need the game of rugby. The constituencies need the game of rugby. We have to align, obviously, with our government policy to grow sport around the country. And I believe rugby has come short and I think I have something different to offer, and be the man that can lead the game to a nationwide development program.
Indeed, you did play the game. We remember the side steps, the pace, and the tries. 2007, 2012, 5 years with the Cheetahs, and 2006 to 2016, 10 years with the Sables. And then, of course, you then played clubs in South Africa, Romania, and Scotland.
Yes.
Do you feel that it is absolutely essential, it is vital, it is a non-negotiable that a former player should become the leader in the sport?
Yeah, I think we as former players need to understand that this is our game. This is our universe. This is our global world that we have lived in, that we have learnt in, and there are many careers after your playing career. I mean, you can go into marketing, you can go into administration, you can go into legal. All departments, all sectors are covered through the game of sport itself. But of course, that's not a reason why just a former player must go into office. I think we have to learn, we have to upskill, we have to grow and understand obviously what management is all about. And I think that experience and exposure, I think when one has got exposure and experience at a very highest level, definitely they should raise their hand to inspire the next generation in administration positions. So for sure, yes, I agree. But the former player needs to be equipped for life after rugby.
I like your call to arms, a call from the land of my fathers. What were you thinking about when you came up with that? It strikes at the heart of some of us who live on language.
I played 3 Rugby World Cups, or if I say I have been involved in 3 Rugby World Cups for my country in my generation, which is very rare when you talk of the history of Zimbabwean rugby. I spent special moments in the rugby field. Vice captain of my country in 2005 at the Under-19 Rugby World Cup. 2009, I think, in that generation of the Zimbabwe Sevens when the World Series were special times against the big teams in world rugby, and we used to win. We used to win bowls, we used to win shields, we used to win big games. And in 2009 Rugby World Cup was very special also because I was one of the top try scorers of the tournament and the best player for my country. And when you achieve that great success, it becomes also personal. Not to want to let your fatherland or motherland, the land of your fathers, if you may say, down. You get engraved in the game. It becomes more than just a physical realm, but you live with it for the rest of your life. And some of these memories are remain in spirit. So for sure, when then the call comes in, then you know for sure that your fathers are calling you because they believe that you can contribute or you can build a good team around the game to take the game forward. So for sure, I don't believe life happens by chance. I believe that I believe that everything happens for a reason, and the fact that it's more than only one person, but different constituencies that I've met, affiliate members who I've met, who believe that the time of change has come, and they've declared that they want to see me lead the game going forward. So for sure, I believe that of course it's a special calling, but of course I'll relate to my call from the land of my fathers in the sense that I think I lived the dream as a rugby player for my country, and I believe what it means to be a Zimbabwean sports person.
I like the last line there. God bless Zimbabwe Rugby. Amen. So God is in it.
God has to be in it. Zimbabwe is God's country. Zimbabwe is a special land. God loves Zimbabwe, and I think a lot of good things have happened in this great land. A lot of heritage and a lot of riches in this great land. So for sure, God is in it, 100%.
Your vision. What is your vision? What is driving you to say, I want to go into office?
Firstly, the game has to catch up with the rest of the world. We have to bring hope to our people, to our children, to our youthful players. They all want to earn a living from the game of rugby. We have to create structures that also show a pathway of life that makes rugby a meaningful part of their lives. Not just playing, but playing with a sense of purpose. So the vision is obviously to grow the game around the country. The vision is to create inclusivity and equality in the game, bring in everyone from all walks of life, disadvantaged communities, marginalized areas. You want the game to go there to the people. Our next door neighbor are world champions. They have succeeded in their transformation agenda. And for us as a country, are we saying we are doing enough to tap into the success of the world champions who are neighbors to us? I don't think so, because rugby is only being played in Harare over the past years under the present administration. So I believe that, in my vision, is to see rugby thrive as one of the best domestic products that the country and the government and its people can be proud of. So I believe, yes, number for sure, in my vision, is to see the game of rugby grow from all walks of life, all races, men and women, thriving under one banner and uniting our people of Zimbabwe.
You talk about young people living off rugby. You talk about rugby becoming professional. But do we have a product at the moment? Do we have assets that we can sweat?
For sure. Rugby is one of the most sponsored sporting disciplines in the country. I think it's a family environment, and obviously I think many investors have come to knock on the door of rugby. But I think where we have fell short of is where we have limited our reach. We have only allowed the few who witness matches in Harare to experience what rugby is all about. So far, obviously, from our investors' point of view, they have great interest. The fact that they are involved in rugby, many sponsors are involved in rugby. But our responsibility as administration, as leaders, is to take the game to the people, to allow the game then to unlock more investment. Without spreading and growing sport, growing the game of rugby around Zimbabwe, we limit also the funding that comes from our investors. So for sure, the game can be professional, and rugby at this moment in time is one of the sports definitely that has got a lot of sponsors, but the sponsors are a bit limited because of our imagination. We're not imagining taking their brands in the disadvantaged remote areas where we can actually grow the game and see Zimbabwe as an image of development of rugby to world rugby itself.
A professional playing base, but do we have a professional administration? Because I understand that even now, not all the provinces are part of the electoral college on Saturday, because some of them have not been ratified.
Yeah, that's where we have to come in. That's the way the need and ambition to come in and serve is, because things are not just right. I think there's time for new, fresh ideas. I also don't blame the previous administrations because the system itself, most of the guys played rugby in the 90s. The game wasn't professional. We had business people funding the game, just funding the game for a social purpose. But I believe the time also for new ideas has come, and we need to resuscitate the provincial leagues. What I'm wishing to bring to Zimbabwean rugby, I'm not wanting to invent something new. The structures have been there for a long time. My inspiration comes in from the 1987 rugby board, 1991 rugby board, who went to the World Cup. We played rugby around Zimbabwe. So the structures were there. The clubs were very, very strong. The clubs came to the party with a wider reach of base for selecting our players. And I mean, we witnessed great things in that era. But somewhere along the line in our leadership, someone chose to close the book of the great success story of Zimbabwean rugby, and we started doing things our own way. And now we've lost a bit of a national heritage and some good moments where some of these provinces are now dilapidated and not even in existence. So I think this is the time where we have to build back the structures and bring back confidence to our communities and resuscitate rugby. But of course, for sure, it's possible to play professional rugby in Zimbabwe.
You call your vision 2031.
Yeah.
I see you've added 1 year to Vision Ewakuru.
Yes.
2031. Why 2031?
Right, the next Rugby World Cup is 2027, and the next Rugby World Cup is 2031. So I'm looking at 2 Rugby World Cups for Zimbabwe, creating structures that will make Zimbabwe a high-performance nation in order to leave a legacy where Zimbabwe will then unlock great funding from World Rugby itself, after having done a lot of great work to develop the game itself around Zimbabwe, and also make Zimbabwe a first-class country when it comes to international rugby. So in that sense, I think that's the vision. The vision is Vision 2030. And of course, it comes from great inspiration. Our government has declared publicly that they want to see sports thriving. They want to see and pledge great support to sporting disciplines. But of course, the leaders have to also align to government policy, to align to the structures of government. And for sure, if you are coming, this is not a Gerald Sibanda Rugby Union, it's Zimbabwe Rugby Union. So for sure, it has to align so that we can benefit fully from our government and get all the support that is required. So for sure, yes, 100%. 2030, but 2031 because 31 is the Rugby World Cup. Yeah.
Gerald Sibanda, presidential candidate for the Zimbabwe Rugby Union. We will be back in the second segment. Water is life in whatever form of storage. Born Water helps you beat El Nino effects with a perfectly drilled borehole by a team with more than 10 years of experience in the business. Our motto, Mvura Ipapo Ipapo, demonstrates this. With 3 state-of-the-art rigs, Born Water is able to attend to your drilling requirements within 2 days of booking. A dedicated team of technicians ensures they leave water freely flowing into your borehole. Born Water, Mvura Ipapo Ipapo. Contact us today on 0771 366 672 or 0773 043 295. Lovemore Banda Live. We are talking to Gerald Sibanda, a candidate for the Zimbabwe Rugby Union presidency. He is also the founder and chief executive officer of a global sports agency, Athletes Sphere Management, and he has interest in agriculture, mining, and trade. Gerald, you talked about, you had gone into your Vision 2031. Why Vision 2031 when your term of office is 4 years? So I think if you are looking at the World Cups, you should in fact be talking about the 2027 World Cup and not USA 2031.
No, I think at the end of the day, this is an office to grow the game of rugby around the country. My mandate under my leadership is to ensure that rugby is in a healthy space than what it is at this moment in time. So of course we have to have a long-term vision for the country, a long-term vision for the game and its people. And if I'm going to run one term and lay the foundation to create a sustainable development program for Zimbabwe and leave it in a better space, then I'm more than happy. If I'm re-elected for a second term, then obviously we'll see it through Vision 2031.
Unlock investment, that's one of your goals in your vision. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I think what is more important, like we said earlier on, was that the game has to become professional. We have to create more commercial assets within the game itself. We have to treat the game as a business and not as a social gathering or a social engagement. I think investment in this moment in time is what I believe I bring is to assemble a good team of people who are driven to unlock the investment of Zimbabwean rugby and make it a product offering to take the game and its people to a business era. Sport is one of the biggest paying sectors in the world. A powerful industry. Football, a big industry. Rugby is a big industry. Cricket is a big industry. And so for Zimbabwe, we have to have that hope and that ambition to ensure that we also make Zimbabwe rugby a powerful and a commercial industry itself. So 100% unlock investment for sure. It's an agenda where we have to grow the game and make it professional and commercial.
Infrastructure development. Now that's really a big challenge in Zimbabwe sport. Even football itself, we don't have a home for the Warriors. What is your vision, infrastructure development?
I think we have to have a home. Rugby needs its home. The Zimbabwe Rugby Union needs a home, and we are looking to develop a multi-purpose high-performance center, obviously 15,000 seater, to be able to host our home matches, have our own office spaces there, and also allow the union to be bankable, to have its assets. We talk of, obviously, we have fantastic big partners, financial partners like Nedbank. I mean, they are these are proposals that we can always take upon them in order for them to understand that we also now need to be bankable as a union. And they've got many products that they can offer to us and allow us to construct a stadium that will help Zimbabwean rugby, but also address the stadium challenges that the country is facing at the moment in time. So it's not impossible, because the financial partners are there, but we need a clear plan to ensure that rugby has got its home, and this home is an asset that is then bankable.
Grassroots development, that's also another big challenge. Given over the years we've seen this tendency where Zimbabwean sponsors, Zimbabwean business entities, corporates would like to get in at the stage where the team is leaving for the World Cup, where the team is arriving for the Olympics, rather than where we are looking for people who will eventually qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, I think preparation is always key, but the foundation in a clear pathway to success is always very important, that our leaders today need to plan and prepare with a better foundation. So in that sense, from our end, we will launch the Zimbabwe Rugby Foundation itself, where the main focus will be bringing back the Zimbabwe Rugby legends. The players who have served the game, who have been lost in the system, who need to come back into the game. We partner our corporate partners, who then take us with World Rugby in the Get Into Rugby program, a nationwide program, to then go and tap into the grassroots talent, but obviously using the community heroes who can then transmit the success that they had in their careers, but then they are now actively participating. So for sure, we would need to be very present in grassroots structures around the country, nurture the next talent, but of course we cannot do it alone as a union. We need to bring back our legends, and the Zimbabwe Rugby Foundation, which we will launch, will address all the key areas in the mandates to grow the game around the country, in the mandate to ensure we nurture grassroots talent, and obviously we create the pathways of inspiration through our great legends of the game. And in that sense, I think we'll be in a healthy space, because there's a clear structure of development that then allows our teams to be adequately prepared and not then just arrive in desperation seeking support and funding just to participate at global tournaments, global competitions, World Cups, qualifications. I think we just need to have our own development plan and structure that addresses grassroots until the main national team dissembles.
Grassroots development is one thing. Retention of that talent is another. We have over the years seen Zimbabwean talent being lost to other countries, to South Africa, to Australia, England, and even other sport codes, other rugby codes. What is your plan to retain our talent?
Yeah, I think firstly we have to give credit into Schoolboy Rugby. They have done very well. I think they've sustained the Zimbabwean rugby success over the years with the fantastic games that have been played. Also, we've got the under-20s. We have become back-to-back African champions over the past few years. But of course, like we said, that we can't retain talent if we don't have a clear structure professionally with our clubs, with our provinces. So we need to ensure that as a union, we come back and put our image into the provinces, put our image into the clubs, and create a commercial structure that gives these youthful players who leave school after the under-20 level to then be able to come feed into the imaging Sables team, the Zimbabwe A side, until then they go into the Sables. Let's give them a reason to stay home by creating a fantastic domestic product where players are thriving to play rugby on a commercial level. If we don't grow commercial, I mean, the neighboring countries will continue to take our talent, and the talent will not find any motivation to come back and play for Zimbabwe. So for sure, we have to put our image as the union to take ownership of some competitions, including the National Rugby League that needs to be played by provinces, and obviously then resuscitate and support the provinces to ensure that their club structures are stronger to retain the talent.
In your vision document, you have a line for Rugby World Cups. Talk about that.
We belong to Rugby World Cup. Zimbabwe belongs to Rugby World Cup. I think any leader who comes in to lead the game has the same challenge to ensure that we go back to where we belong. The first two Rugby World Cups, Zimbabwe was present, and we've lost out to Namibia over all the last campaigns. But I think the time has come where I believe that we need to focus and ensure that we create high-performance teams in our national teams that can compete on first-class level in order to make World Cup qualification a possibility. So yes, for sure, we belong at the World Cup.
Gerald, you seem to have your ducks in a row, certainly in your vision on paper. You do have the input, grassroots development, also the output. You've been talking about the Rugby World Cups. What about the processing? What is your program to process that which you get at grassroots development so that you fulfill that which you envisage at the Rugby World Cups?
I think half of the job has been done by the schools, because the schools are playing rugby, whether it's private schools or government schools. So for sure, rugby is being played at grassroots level, so which is already a plus for the union. What is now more important is that we then need to put our image to also support these private schools, support these government schools, in order then for us to ensure that we don't lose the talent, like you mentioned, that we have a stronger base of talent, we retain our best players by professionalizing or commercializing our local league. In that sense, I think that's the process. The process is that the union needs to be active. We cannot let the government schools just play rugby without the support of the union. We cannot let the private schools play rugby without the support of the union. That's exactly what has been happening over the past years. So there are situations where don't require finance or money, but require the union to be presently active in ensuring that they give support through their image to ensure that there is every reason for everyone every stakeholder in Zimbabwean rugby to come on one table and pursue the same goal. And the same goal that we want is to ensure that we don't lose talent after school. We have strong imaging sables. We have strong Zimbabwe A squads for both men and women, in order for us then to say we are now a high-performance nation and we are ready to play first-class rugby, bring back Tier 1 and Tier 2 countries to tour Zimbabwe through the power of our synergies with our corporates, with our investors, with Zimbabwe tourism, with our government. We need Tier 2 countries to visit Zimbabwe. When I say Tier 2 countries, I'm talking of Romania, Georgia, Portugal. These are countries that you used to come and play rugby in Zimbabwe, test rugby in Zimbabwe, here at home. So I think what needs to be done has already been done. But it's just time for one leader and his team to come back and open to a formula that once worked. But of course, we have to be more commercial, because in the past there was no commercial structure. But I think in this moment in time, we are more exposed into the commercial environment of sport.
I like that you finally talked about the ladies, and I think you will need, so far as you've talked about inclusivity and equality, to also address the issue of the girl child, which we'll do when we come back, and that you also talked about the team, and would like again to look at that, so that it's not just a Gerald Sibanda thing. But you are watching Lovemore Banda live. I'm talking to Gerald Sibanda. He's a presidential candidate for the Zimbabwe Rugby Union. Water is life in whatever form of storage. Born water helps you beat El Nino effects with a perfectly drilled borehole by a team with more than 10 years of experience in the business. Our motto, Mvura Ipapo Ipapo, demonstrates this. With 3 state-of-the-art rigs, Born Water is able to attend to your drilling requirements within 2 days of booking. A dedicated team of technicians ensures they leave water freely flowing into your borehole. Born Water, Mvura Ipapo Ipapo. Contact us today on 0771 366 672 or 0773 043 295. Lovemore Banda live. We are talking to Gerald Sibanda. He is a candidate for the Zimbabwe Rugby Union presidency. Gerald, before the break, you were talking about the ladies' tables, and I said would like you to address further also the issue of the girl child, particularly at the grassroots development. What programs do you have to get more girls involved in rugby?
I think the same programs that the boys are getting is the same programs that the girl child must have. I think now we're in an era where we have to have more of equal opportunities. Equality is important in our leadership. Equality is important in the rest of the world and obviously in our country. Obviously, from our end, it's a statement of intent by having my Vice President North being Abigail Munikwa, who has served as the chairlady for Zimbabwe Women's Rugby over the past term and over the past years. Since 2011, she has been involved in women's rugby, and she has come in on board in our team to ensure that she will be the Vice President North, and obviously with the agenda to grow women's rugby. So I think it's important that we have a voice in the executive. We have a voice in the board. We have a voice in the presidium to ensure that the women also feel that they are an important part of nation building through rugby. So for sure, every program that we have for the men's rugby and boys rugby, I think the girls and the women's rugby are also going to have the same equal opportunities as discussed.
Abigail involved. Who else is in Team Gerald?
At this moment in time, obviously, we will restructure and confirm some of the members that have been supporting us. But in our campaign team, as you know, it's mainly the presidential campaign and the vice president campaign. So the other team members, in this moment in time, we will then obviously see their support per appointments.
Gerald, you have won the election. You are the Zimbabwe Rugby Union president. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your first 100 days. Tell us about your first 100 days, or you speak French, so as you say in French, what is it? Saint-Jean.
Saint-Jean. Yeah, obviously, the first 100 days, we have to move into our, obviously, new office space, as currently the current office space that the union is using. I don't think it's the up to standard of normal day-to-day business of a multi-billion-dollar rugby union. We need to ensure that we've got a good office that also brings investor confidence. We have to ensure we address our international test assignments for the year. Obviously, we're looking into the men's upcoming fixtures. We're looking into the women's upcoming fixtures, and obviously putting our image into the schools rugby tours that have to come in. They've got Craven Week, and also we wish to introduce international test rugby to be played at junior level at under 14, under 17, and also under 18. So we also need to ensure that we start playing test rugby with our neighboring countries, Namibia, Kenya, Zambia, to ensure that we already show a sense of purpose and a belonging to these players who are younger, to give them a sense of pride for their country at junior test rugby. Then obviously we are looking to ensure that we have the launch of the Zimbabwe Rugby Foundation, which will be the pillar of growing the game of rugby across Zimbabwe through the rugby legends that are going to be the face of the Rugby Foundation as far as our outreach campaign and obviously getting to rugby program is concerned from old rugby. And we will then obviously need to ensure that we put the structure and seal the commercial partnership with a few of our corporate sponsors to ensure that we've got the launch of our domestic professional league. That's mainly the provincial league, mainly our own local Currie Cup, if I may say, to those who are exposed to South African rugby, the beauty of South African rugby. So obviously we'll need our own domestic provincial rugby. So I think in those 100 days we need to we have to hit the ground running, for sure. We have to hit the ground running.
Gerald, you played for clubs in South Africa, in Scotland, and in Romania. You also have quite some international exposure, also through your athletes' sphere management and through your business interests. What would you say the five things that are hampering the development of Zimbabwean rugby or Zimbabwean sport in general?
I think it's we have to rebrand our sporting institutions. from being mere institutions of who just participate in sport, but to rebrand them into day-to-day business offices. The mindset needs to change from our leaders. We have to see sport as a business. It's a big business indeed. And I think with the help of our government, I'm sure we'll also be able to see and offer our support to our minister as she continues to engage from the top to ensure also that the corporates are motivated to sponsor sporting activities or be part of sponsorship. And they have also their benefits from government for sponsoring sport. I think that's an agenda that obviously all leaders of federations need to sit with our Minister of Sport and to ensure that we offer our support and make our voice be heard to allow corporates to find better packages, tax rebates, if we may say, to where is what happens in other countries in order for sports to be funded. Let there be motivation that comes from the top of our government to ensure that corporates are fully involved in sport, and they must be motivated to do so. I think firstly, if we then are able to address that agenda, then we have to see sport as a business. So for sure, we have to rebrand our thinking. We have to rebrand our way of our day-to-day running of sport as a country. So I believe that once we do that, we'll be able then to compete at every level of sport with the best teams in the world. We can do it. Cricket is doing it. Football has done it. And I believe rugby can do the same thing.
Gerald, I talked about this in the first segment, but you used your sidestepping. I want to come back to it. You run the athletes' sphere management. This is a global presence. You have interest in North and South America, in Africa, in Europe, in the United Arab Emirates, the Middle East. You are also partnering other sports, boxing, you're a WBC promoter, basketball, football, and rugby. In a 24-hour day, where a third of that day is to be used for sleeping, where will you find time for Zimbabwe Rugby?
Like I said, that athletes' sphere management is a business, and every rugby president, my predecessors, all have their own businesses that they run outside rugby. But what is more important is that we have to build a team that can deliver. We have to build a team that can take the game of Zimbabwean rugby forward. Everyone in management in Zimbabwe, I guess, in sporting federations, they were all business people in their own right. And for me, for sure, I'm a businessman. And I also happen to be a sports businessman, which is great, meaning that I'm also adding value and bringing more value and expertise and experience, networks, opportunities to then take the game forward. So for sure, sport must be run by sports business people. So I believe, maybe for sure, for now, I think I'm the right person to take that upon. And rugby is part of my life. It's my passion. I've saved the game. It's in my blood. And me raising my hand to say I want to take Zimbabwe Rugby forward with my team, it means that I'm confident that we'll be able to build a good team. I'm confident in our manifesto. I'm confident in achieving our goals. I'm confident that we will receive the support from all stakeholders to ensure that Zimbabwe Rugby, at the end of the day, is a winner. Not Gerald Sibanda. Zimbabwe Rugby must be the winner. And I think I'm ready. I think I'm definitely ready, 100% for sure. I'm ready to give my all for my country.
And you speak several languages. That obviously will help in building alliances.
For sure. I have a bit of basic Romanian. I have basic French. I have basic Afrikaans. I have basic Spanish, which has actually become better now. And of course, yeah, for sure. I am also culturally connected to many cultures around the world, in different continents. So I think for sure that's an advantage. And obviously, I'm studying international relations for sure. So let's see how things go.
And you fala a bit of Portuguese.
Portuguese and Spanish, for sure. Yeah, Palais. Hablas.
Yeah. Hablas español.
Yes. Hablas español.
Gerald, all that remains for me now is to wish you all the best in the elections, and that hopefully the best man, may the best man win, and hopefully that best man will be you. Thank you very much for finding time to come and chat to us.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you once again.
Much appreciated. That was Gerald Sibanda. He's running for the Zimbabwe Rugby Union presidency. You have been watching Lovemore Banda live. It was good to have you along.
Aya,